Wife do antiquing, or does she, or art, or both?
Just art.
Okay, they opened a new antique store down the street. So,
And where's that at?
it's actually in Ross Township. It's hard to describe. It's probably about half a mile from where I live.
Oh, okay.
North Hills.
Yeah.
Okay, it's 12:30.
Okay.
Our meeting is now live streaming on YouTube. I'd like to welcome everybody to the quarterly business meeting of the Edinburgh University Council of Trustees. The proceedings of the Edinburgh University Council of Trustees are recorded. Therefore, public disclosure to those in attendance via verbal announcement and written public notice avoids any violation of the Pennsylvania Wiretapping Act. The Edinburgh University Council of Trustees went into executive session today to discuss personnel and legal matters at 11 a.m. on February 4th, 2022. We have had no one register for public comment period. I will say, is there any others online that wishes to make a public comment, though we've had no one register? Hearing none. Let's go on to new business, approval of the minutes of the special business meeting held on December 13th, 2021. You've had them to review. May I entertain a motion?
So moved. This is Kathy.
Kathy
Second.
Page, Mark Bellini, second. Okay, we will do a verbal roll call as we're virtual, so.
Okay, trustee Chafee,
I,
trustee Bellini,
Aye.
trustee Frampton,
Aye.
trustee Hyam,
Aye.
trustee Jones,
Aye.
trustee Kennedy,
Yes.
trustee Lothar,
Aye.
trustee Pape,
Aye.
trustee Shields,
Yes.
and trustee Wheeler.
Aye.
All right.
okay. Minutes have passed. So Dr. J, pardon? Are we good, Rachel? Yeah. Okay, I thought you said something. So now we'll go to Dr. Dale Pearson's President's Report to the Council of Trustees. Dr. Dale.
Good afternoon, everybody. It is my pleasure to present some highlights of Edinburgh University. Edinburgh's Masters of Fine Arts program was named #1 in the U.S. by Grad Reports. Edinburgh is one of 8 institutions in Pennsylvania to earn Council on Accreditation Education Preparation, CAPE, and the first to earn both initial and advanced preparation status. Niche ranked Edinburgh #3 in Best Public Colleges for Art in Pennsylvania and #12 for Best Public Colleges Dorms in Pennsylvania, but we prefer to call them residence halls, and amongst the top 5 public colleges with the best professors in Pennsylvania. A squad of Edinburgh animation students finished first amongst the U.S. teams, 4th overall out of 208 teams in the global 24-hour animation contest hosted by world-renowned professional animation specialists. Leanne Dijon, Abigail Friesch, Bo Henry, TJ Kratz, and Luke Shea, known as the Miraculous 12, created the new normal in record-breaking time of 12 hours. The Fighting Scots esports team was named one of the 50 world-class college esports programs by Liquid Luck. Edinburgh students Amber Hepler, Sydney Smith, Zachary Jaggy advanced to the final stages of the National Financial Planning Challenge, the 3-phase competition designed exclusively for undergraduate programs registered with the Certified Financial Planner Board. Faculty and students at Edinburgh University's Center for Branding and Strategic Communications captured 7 Marketing and Communications Awards at the 7th Annual Niagara Awards held by the Northwestern Pennsylvania chapter of Public Relations Society of America. Penn West enrollment across the West, Penn West freshmen applications are up 14%, freshman admitted students are up 18%, and freshman deposits are up 9.14%. A COVID task force has been ongoing on the Edinburgh campus, and now there is a joint COVID task force in the West that has representation of campus leaders and also our faculty and staff to gather input and students to gather input across the West and improve communications on COVID-related issues facing all three campuses, our two sisters to the South. This task force will replace the campus-based COVID teams, and it representing Edinburgh, Dr. Del Rounds, Peter Kovshinikoff, Brenda Marquis, Scott Miller, Jim Day, Sean Hogue, Angie Burrows, and John Wheeler, and Emily Munez, and Amanda Sissom. Shared Governance University Task Force has been launched. The Shared Governance for Higher Education to ensure both student and institutional success. At the core of this shared governance process, Jamie Phillips and Kelly Moran, Chief of Staff my Chief of Staff, and Jamie Phillips from down at Cal, but also Cal Arian, but also he is on the BOG. He is the faculty representative for shared governance. This group will continue to develop a model so that when Penn West launches in the spring, we have full input and voice from all our campuses, communities, and also for Penn West. The Shared Governance Task Force will be comprised also of students, faculty, and staff and administrators. The task force is charged with proposing a cabinet that will allow for university issues to be discussed in a robust fashion where individuals have voice, opinions, and also input. The NCAA continues to follow the new updated transgender participation policy. The United States Olympic and Paralympic Committee is following those, which will be dealt with on a team-by-team basis. As the president of the interim president at Edinburgh, interim at Cal, and also at Clarion, I will continue to work in the role of interim president for Penn West through 2024 at such time when the implementation period is over and a permanent president will be selected. Thank you. That is my report.
Thank you.
Sam Claster has joined us. Good morning.
Right. Good morning, Sam. And as we've talked about, Dr. Sam Claster will be reporting towards the end of this quarterly business meeting. We'll be happy to have him, of course. Okay, so Academic Affairs, Provost and Vice President for Academic Affairs, Dr. Michael Hannon, will give the Academic Affairs report. Michael.
Thank you. I have a short report today, and then I will turn it over to Dr. Scott Miller for some additional comments on academic affairs. President Pearson had already highlighted some of the multiple rankings that our academic programs have achieved in this last year. The academic affairs report, which is in your portfolio, includes an entire page of additional accolades for your reference with links. Just wanted to highlight very few and these are from intelligent.com, we were ranked a best early childhood education degree program, number 3 in the country, which is excellent. Also ranked 3rd for the best online masters in educational psychology program, and number 4 for the best online counseling degree program and the most affordable online masters in school counseling program. So we're very proud of the many recognitions that we're getting for the quality of the academic programs that we offer. Also wanted to highlight some of the great work from our Center for Faculty Excellence that has occurred during this past year. They primarily focus on professional development activities for our faculty to improve the work of our faculty and improve the experience for our students. Among the programs that were offered this year was an event on service learning and how faculty can incorporate service learning into their classes. There was also a whole series of D2L modules that were developed in academic advising. And with the completion of those self-paced modules, faculty could receive a certificate from the Center for Faculty Excellence on that academic advising improvement. And then lastly, they also presented an event on academic integrity and the multimodal environment. And multimodal delivery is one where students have flexibility in choosing how they take the course. The course is always available in a face-to-face format, but may also be taken by the student as a synchronous or asynchronous online experience, and the student can switch between those modalities throughout the course. And so there was a workshop provided by the Center for Faculty Excellence about that delivery method and issues of academic integrity in that delivery. Lastly, I did want to highlight that our Department of Continuing Education and Workforce Development, which is led by Beth Ziwi, received an additional $60,000 in WEDNET PA funding this past year, which brought our total award to over $330,000 for the year. And she was able to serve basically for training and professional development needs of more than 29 different contracts with private companies and organizations this past year in Erie, Crawford, Mercer, Butler, and Venango counties. And those companies who were served are part of the document that I provided to the COT for your reference. If there are any or not questions for me specifically, I can turn it over now to Dr. Miller.
I just want to mention that was a great list of companies
Yeah.
for the WEDNET project. So great work by everybody. Okay. Scott? Dr.
All right.
Miller?
Not hearing questions for Dr. Hannon. Thank you, everybody. Since I've taken over as the Senior Vice President of Academic Affairs and Provost last month, I just want to make you aware of some changes we've made in academic affairs for Edinboro. Dr. Aaron Lake continues as the Dean of School of Education, but to backfill the roles that I had, Dr. Mary Panacea Carden has graciously agreed to serve as the interim dean for the School of Business and the College of Arts, Humanities, and Social Sciences. In addition, Dr. Deborah Kelly from Clarion, who will be the dean of the College of Health Sciences for Penn West on July 1st, has agreed to serve as the interim dean for the College of Science and Health Professions. So we were able to get those in place fairly quickly after my appointment, as not to lose any momentum in our business operations. We're being very conscientious whenever there's one of these changes to create as little disruption as we can to the faculty and students, and to also to foresee the changes that will have to occur on July 1st and minimize any disruption that will occur there. Dr. Hannon will continue to work with us in academic affairs, particularly related to integration. And we have two associate provosts, one from Clarion, one from Cal, that are helping us as well. So we're certainly on our way to working as a team in academic affairs. And I'm really proud of the work that they're doing. I also want to thank, I know Sam Plaster's here, I want to thank the union for their participation and help in this process as we've transitioned. We've been working really well together as we try to maneuver through the integration. With that, I will turn it back over to the chair.
Are there any questions for Dr. Miller? Okay, so we will now go to Marketing and Communications, Vice President Angela Burrows.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. You've seen my written report, so I'm going to use this as an opportunity to point out just a couple of highlights. Even as we prepare for integration, the anticipated integration of California, Clarion, and Edinboro in July of 2022, our campus-specific initiatives continue. Those initiatives include advertising, both program-specific and awareness advertising. You likely recall that the awareness advertising is both digital and traditional. The traditional advertising, commercials, both on live stream outlets as well as cable, billboards, print, it's more costly than digital ads. So we run them at strategic times during the year. The spring run will be March and April in Erie, Pittsburgh, and the Eastern Ohio markets. The spring campaign is aimed at driving deposits whereas the fall campaign, also a 2-month campaign, is aimed at generating applications. I wanted to specifically call out some plans for upcoming print ads, which will largely run in college fair supplements in our primary target markets. There's one coming up soon in the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. Yield campaign. As with previous years, we have a special yield campaign planned with a giveaway. This year's giveaway, a Borough beanie, which is very appropriate given the weather we have today. That gift will go out as part of a package to about 1,500 accepted students who have not yet deposited. We did the same thing 2 years ago to rave reviews. The students posted photos of themselves in the Borough beanies on social. So we got a lot of visibility out of it. We're going to encourage that as well this time around. Dr. Hannon mentioned some accolades for faculty and staff. We're proud to be promoting those largely through our own channels, aggressive promotion through social media and so forth. The Borough Magazine, the next issue of the magazine is to publish in mid-spring. Once again, we will feature a star-studded group of alumni, students, and faculty, and we believe we have another winning issue. That magazine has been a winner of multiple awards for the last several issues. COVID communications have remained a priority as we keep our campus community informed of changes in COVID protocols prompted by the Omicron variant. Our website continues to perform well on multiple measures from SEO to accessibility, and we're constantly looking for ways to enhance performance even more. Our social media audiences have remained loyal and continue to grow. We've recently entered the TikTok space with a series of short videos, some of which will educate students about integration-related topics. That was at the recommendation of students. These short videos were recommended as a way to put integration information out there in digestible doses. We've done a lot of videos since December, and in general, our videos are running shorter to increase the likelihood that messages are heard. So that concludes my report. I'm going to turn it over to Jim Geiger, Senior Vice President for Advancement, to see if he would like to add anything else.
Thank you, Angela. Yes, I'm Jim Geiger. I'm the Senior Vice President for University Advancement. And just a couple of quick comments as we work across the three institutions. We're reformulating a little bit to create an advancement division, which will include communications and marketing, as well as fundraising and alumni engagement. And we'll be working in the grants area as well. So we're really able to strategically align the university's position externally and partner together to do that. It's been fantastic to work across the campuses. We have some outstanding talent. And for our areas, for sure, to be able to combine the talent and the FTE bandwidth around some singular, very important topics. We're really excited about that. I think Amanda's going next, but I'll just a couple of marketing things and then a couple of alumni things that I'd mentioned first. We have launched a intermediate website thanks to Angie and to Jeff Bender on the Cal campus and Bill Berger on the Edinburgh campus. They've done great work together. That page is really exists to catch people who search for Penn West, and then as well to start to put together one place for future Penn West students to go for their kind of information systems work before they actually start in the fall. So that work's coming great. Doing an analysis of all the strategic enrollment management pieces, so we can start to look and see how do we best represent the best of each campus as well as the strengths of us combined. A few notes on alumni engagement. I don't think I'll take anything away from what Amanda's going to say, but we are really stepping slowly into integrating our alumni functions and our fundraising functions. Same thing as the communications and marketing. We have some great talent across the three, and working together, we'll fill some gaps that we don't have on some specific campuses. An example of that is Clarion has a dedicated planned giving officer. Neither one of the other campuses do. So that person can be a resource across the three. And then on the alumni side, really looking at maintaining the legacy events, maintaining the legacy look and feel to alumni, and having kind of shared experiences when it makes sense. Sometimes it will make sense, and we'll kind of do that gradually. But we do want to make sure that our alumni, our donors, our communities don't lose sight of our proud histories and legacies. And I'm looking forward to working with you all. So I take any questions if you have any.
Any questions? No. Thank you very much, Jim.
Thank you.
Okay. So now Assistant Vice President for Advancement, Amanda Sissom, will provide the advancement report.
Thank you. Good afternoon, trustees, President Pearson, colleagues, and community. I've submitted a written narrative report, which included the advancement report as well as affiliate reports for the Alumni Association at Edinboro and the Edinboro University Foundation. In addition to the narrative report, you should find an advancement dashboard through the end of the calendar year and the advancement and alumni engagement calendar of events for the spring semester. I do not have any action items today to share or for your consideration, but just a few highlights. First of all, it's been about a month since the end of the calendar year now, so we have closed another month. We are ending the end of January, having raised $801,499 at the Edinboro campus from 1,455 donors, making 3,914 gifts, which means repeat gifts from many of our donors. We are watching our academic scholarships and athletic campaign rise again, which is really encouraging for us as we go into spring semester and we rebound from COVID. We, as Jim already mentioned, we are working very closely with our partners at the other two campuses on alumni engagement activities. You'll see some of that demonstrated in the calendar. We decided not to travel to Florida in February for some of our alumni engagement activities and have canceled those just out of caution due to the end of year increase in COVID cases. And we wanted to make sure that our populations remain safe. We do have a regional event coming up on April 3rd in Cleveland at the Cavs game. So that will be fun. And then we will close the Art 100 celebration on April 29th with an unveiling of a historical marker dedicated to Waldo Bates, the original art faculty member across the street from campus, which will be a community celebration, which we're excited about. That will be followed by celebrations in both of our galleries, both focused on our history and memorabilia from the Bates era, but also the first faculty show that will feature all three of the integrating campuses and the talent of our art faculty across all three. So we're excited about that. Finally, I ended my report with giving you an overview of transitions within staffing towards integration for the advancement division here at Edinboro. All of our advancement and alumni engagement staff now have their new positions in place and have been working across campuses in our new teams. And we're looking forward to that. As Jim has mentioned, there's a great deal of talent and opportunity for us to seize as we move towards the launch of Penn West, and our division is very excited about those opportunities. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for Amanda? No questions. Okay. Finance and Administration, and our Vice President for Finance and Administration, John Hines.
Good afternoon, trustees. I'll just give you a few highlights from the division report. On the accounting side of the house, the audit report was finished in December and published and went out to all of you. Certainly, if you have any questions, you feel free to email those at any time. On the budgeting side of the house, they're preparing for a mid-year sustainability report that's due at the end of February. So they're busily gathering information to make some updates to the mid-year budget. On the facility side, we have 2 DGS projects that are in two different stages. The library renovation, we still expect that construction activity might begin in late spring. That would be maybe March, April, May time period. The demolition project for those buildings that have been targeted for demolition, we expect that likely to occur in the late fall of 22. On the IT side of finance and administration, they have been heavily involved, partnering with the team at Strategic Enrollment Management, as well as the team in student accounts, to roll out the implementation of the upgraded version of our OneSys student information system banner and its contact and relationship management system Slate. So there've been many people involved in that and rolling it out and testing it and finding problems and fixing them. So a great team effort that is ongoing. On the risk management and safety side of the house, the risk management from Edinburgh as well as CalU have teamed together to make regular visits to Clarion to help them out on their risk assessment and see if they can make some improvements in those areas. Lastly, on the HR side of the business, the HR team is completely embroiled with performance reviews from previous years, from the previous year, as well as valuing literally hundreds of new job descriptions that are coming in for all the new positions, every position that we're filling new you at Penn West. I have no action items for the COT, but I would like to ask Fawn, the Penn West CFO and VP of Finance, if she'd like to make any comments. Fawn?
Thanks, John. Yes, I just want to say I'm anxious to get started in Penn West. We've been working across the campuses in our finance area of accounting and budget and information technology, or financial planning and analysis. And the teams are working very well together. And I'm just very excited to join the team and work with my colleagues. Thank you.
Welcome, Fawn. Thank you. Any questions? Okay. Enrollment Management, our Vice President for Enrollment Management, David Dollins.
Thank you, everyone. Just a quick update. Enrollment figures for fall 2022 for new student enrollment, freshmen, as Dr. Dale indicated, are up. So application activity is strong along with admit and deposit activity. We have a number of major programs coming up that are focused on yielding these admitted students, getting them connected to housing, to orientation, and starting to go through the process to become a Fighting Scot. So those days are our future Fighting Scot days, and those are geared towards our admitted students. So we have one later this month on Saturday, February 26th. We have one on March 19th, and then 2 programs in April as we start leading up to the May 1st National Deposit Deadline date for incoming first-year students. We also are working closely with our community college transfer students. And so we have just over 200 applications for the fall 2022 semester. And it's still very early, but our deposits are pretty much in line with where we would expect them to be at this point in time of the year. So working diligently on that. I'll just make quick mention too, our honors college admits are up by 24%. And the average incoming GPA of those deposited honors college students is a 4.01. So really a high level of achievement there. And then the average annual GPA, or the average GPA for incoming freshman students across all programs and all majors is a 3.64. So again, we're maintaining really high quality incoming freshman class. Finally, as John had mentioned, we're working heavily on Slate launch and implementation. And so it is actually launched and the new application is up and running. So we are accepting applications through the new Slate CRM now and have sunsetted our legacy systems. So that's a really exciting milestone for Penn West University, and also provides a lot of opportunity for our admissions staff to work even more diligently and engage more with our incoming first-year students. So it's going to be a really enhanced tool for our teams. And then we also are working on the financial aid side for launching a new program here at Edinboro called Campus Logic, which is a digital award letter. So not only are we going to be sending printed award letters to families, but we'll also be sending a digital award letter via text message and email, so students can review that as quickly as possible. But those are my updates for enrollment management. I'll take any questions if there are any.
Any questions?
Yeah, I have one question, Barb. Stan Heim. Question, do you know what the percentage is between graduate and undergraduate students? As far as
total enrollment?
Total enrollment.
So at Edinboro, I believe just over 1,000 graduate students, and then the remainder would be undergraduate students. So it's about 75, 25, 70, 30. But Aaron, you have probably the exact count of graduate students.
1117, I just verified today.
Okay.
Mingling after our last meeting.
And then
Anything?
Penn
Yeah,
West, it's going to be about 33% of the total enrollment is online enrollment, with a large majority of those online students being graduate level.
Thank you.
Yep.
Any other questions? All right, thank you, David.
You're
We'll
welcome.
move on to the Student Affairs Report with our Senior Vice President for Institutional Effectiveness and Student Affairs, Susan Finstein.
Thank you very much. All right, so excuse me. Excuse me. Just given some updates from all of the great activities happening in student affairs on the Edinboro campus. Our budgets and auxiliaries areas are working very hard to make the shift with meal services over the last week, 2 weeks. As you know, we made some COVID changes in how we were expecting services to roll out on campus. And so our dining vendors have accommodated that request for grab and go meals. Of course, we have made changes since that point, and students are now able to have meals in the dining halls, but we are still offering grab and go for the students who want to, as we like to keep the facilities as thinned out as possible. We're also continuing to work with the Student Government Association in their project of renovating some of the space in Pogue to keep up with the demands of the students and use of the space, one of the spaces on the second floor. As far as campus life, the Student Government Association participated in a retreat for their group, and Dr. Hoke, who's now our lead student affairs exec at the Edinboro campus, is working with all the key student leaders, has been developing good working relationships with them, and continuing to find out how else we can help the students be successful in not only their student organizations, but in how we serve them as well. Additionally, there was a Penn West fraternity and sorority roundtable held so that the Greek student leaders could talk about how they can maximize what they're doing across the 3 campuses, how they can pool their resources and support each other, and find any other opportunities for collaboration among the 3 sites. Residence Life and Housing is working very closely with the health center to help manage the students who are COVID positive or who need to be quarantined. And we've also been able to implement some simpler processes for the students who are living in the residence halls and impacted by COVID. We've been able to streamline some of the operations and how we respond to them. So, and that's been well received. We have also implemented a new housing handbook for the students living in the residence halls. There was not one in previous years, and it's really critical for us to be able to share with the students what our expectations are of them as they live in the residence halls and be clear about that so everyone is on the same page. And that we also did involve the students in that discussion, and it's been a very good collaborative process. We also are working to confirm housing occupancy as the students are, as we rounded the corner to the end of drop ad, making sure we have everyone accounted for in the residence halls as students have been shifting their enrollment patterns at the beginning of the semester. So the housing staff is keeping up with that. And the last area for student affairs is our wellness area. In the process of integrating the 3 campuses, we've had lots of wonderful opportunities for best practices across the campuses to be realized, and our disability services staff have been working hard to come up with ways to continue to support each other in their work with the students who seek accommodations across the 3 campuses, looking for ways to streamline policies and processes to make things as easy as possible for the students. Same with our campus recreation staff across the 3 campuses. They're looking for ways to continue to serve the students in better ways, and they're coming up with some new aligned programming that is resonating well with the students. And health services at the Edinboro campus is just finishing up hiring a nurse who is filling a vacancy that existed. And of course, it is critical at this point in the pandemic to continue to appropriately staff our health centers. And finally, counseling and student support services was able to add an additional student support assistant, which is really critical in triaging students with mental health needs on campus. So we're really working hard to keep refining practices to meet the needs of the students and to keep the critical areas well staffed for the students. And that's the end of my report. Happy to take any questions.
Any questions for Susan? No? Okay, we have a change in the agenda. Dr. Terrence Mitchell, Center of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion, is unable to attend today due to a family emergency. But we do have, and we accidentally left her off the agenda, Dr. Erin Lake, who is the now head of the Global Penn West Global University. So Dr. Lake.
Yes, I'll just provide a brief update. Global Online is one of the 10 divisions within Pennsylvania Western, and we're also called the 4th campus. We have been working on projects like service and scale. We are in the process of posting 3 success coach positions and 2 instructional designers. So we'll be building this staff. We will have a physical presence on each of the campuses so that we can work with faculty and improve the content of our online courses. And we will make sure that we improve the retention rate of our online students. And we've been working very closely with academic affairs, enrollment, finance, and marketing. We have a very strong team, and we look forward to standing this division up and being successful. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for Erin? None? Okay, so we welcome Dr. Samuel Claster, the APSCAP President's Report. This will be your first time with us, so we're happy to have you.
Okay. Thank you, Chairwoman Chafee. Thanks to the council for having me. As she said, this is my first time here. So I'm sure Drs. Hannon and Miller and Pearson are sick of hearing the story, but for those of you that don't know me, I'll give you a real quick background so you can understand where I'm coming from and hopefully contextualize some of the things I'm about to say to you all. I grew up on Fairview Street in Lock Haven. You know, I'm a Paschy kid. I'm a 2-time alum of Edinboro. I've been here since 2009 as a faculty member, but my best friends in the world are from the 7th floor of Tower B in 1998, and we know each other's children and we stay in connection all these years later, very close connection. My wife is a colleague of mine in the Department of Sociology. I bleed plaid as much as anyone on this Zoom, I think is the point I'm getting at. And that does, it does matter and it does mean something, and that's part of the reason I'm here. So I guess I would just say, look, I understand that the council is probably at a point where you inevitably believe that integration is what is best for the borough of Edinboro and for the borough as an entity that many people love. And at this point in the game, obviously, I don't disagree with you. But if you love the borough the way I do, which I'm sure many of you do, I know deep down that this bothers some of you. And it's okay, and it's all right to give voice to that. The threat of identity loss is very real and has an impact on a lot of us. And certainly for our alumni, and that's why I'm very encouraged to hear the words a minute ago from Jim and Amanda and their approach to alumni engagement. I think it's brilliant. I think it's smart. I think we need to keep thinking that way. And so I appreciate that. But all of this is exactly the reason why it's vital that we work together. Penn West Borough, so I'm going to just go ahead and dub it right now, has to become a thriving college campus again. We have to hear the pipers again. We have to continue to serve the Erie region as not only a key player in its regional economy, but a source of cultural experience. There's still a university campus here. There are still many things that it provides to this region, and we need to make sure that it's vital and it continues to do that. And so that's honestly the reason I'm here. It's been far too long since an ABSCUF president has addressed this body. It's been far too long since an ABSCUF president has been invited to address this body, and Penn West needs to prioritize a healthy working relationship between faculty and its COT, whatever changes come to both of those organizational structures. So with that, my email is sclaster@edinboro.edu. I have an office in Butterfield Hall. I am up for a Zoom, a coffee, a dinner, a conversation, and I want you to know that that line of communication is open. Briefly, I'll just say, as a faculty report, I think Drs. Hannon and Miller did a great job highlighting accomplishments. So as usual, I'll take the low road and say that morale is pretty devastated. We lost over 40 full-time equivalent of our faculty. And I am very sensitive to the fact that we have lost a lot of staff and that we are hurting in many ways when it comes to our workforce, that it's not just faculty, and it's important to recognize that. But with that said, being in education's been harder the last 2 years than it's ever been at all levels, and we all know that. Being in the classroom has been difficult. Playing mask police has been difficult. I know many faculty that in the last 2 weeks have had COVID, and so have their families. And on top of that, integration, which adds to your day job, and on top of that, retrenchment, which not only takes incredible amount of time out of your managers and out of faculty, it absolutely devastates morale. So to say morale is low at Edinboro amongst the faculty would be true, but more accurate would be that there is little to no morale, which is scarier, right? Like low morale or angry morale means you care. We are getting to the point where we need to get back to what we should be doing as faculty with the majority of our time. That is teaching, that is mentoring students, and that is engaging in research and collaborative projects. So we need to get to a healthy place as a faculty across, right? All four of our campuses, Aaron. And we have to get to a healthy place for Penn West to be successful. ABSCUF has been working diligently at the state and local level. We have done, look, this integration and what it really takes on the ground, I cannot explain fully to anyone. And we could ask Dr. Miller to list out, or Dr. Pearson, all the things that it really takes. It is an ongoing process. It has taken incredible collaboration with the faculty. We are still writing side letters and we'll be implementing them to make this happen while we're doing it on the fly. It's pretty incredible, and it hasn't been done at this scale in higher education. I do genuinely thank the administration for the way they've been working with ABSCUF and hope that relationship continues. Finally, I get this question a lot, so I thought I would head it off. People are asking what will happen of ABSCUF and our chapter structure, and the genuine answer is, I don't know. We have 150 delegates that ratify our decisions as an organization across the state. This has certainly been a conversation we've had. It's going to be an ongoing conversation we've had, and I would imagine it would take another at least academic year, I think, until we know the long-term structure. So we're trying to figure out things like we are with academic affairs. We're figuring out where we are now, what the bridges we need are, and then time to plan what the future looks like. And I don't think it's the appropriate time to ask this, so I'll just say that Chairwoman Chafee or anyone else that's willing to have this conversation with me. I'd love to know what's going on with the trustees. I caught a little bit of the meeting yesterday, so I heard some of it. And I feel like maybe if I go back and watch it, I'll learn more. But I'd love to have that conversation. My door is open. And thank you all again for having me today.
We can have that conversation. We'll have that conversation, Sam. I think we're still all trying to figure some of that out ourselves. But, if you were on Board of Governors, you certainly heard much of it yesterday. Thank you. I want to say, does anybody have any questions, comments, thoughts for Sam? And Sam, for as long as we are trustees, you are invited to attend the quarterly business meeting. So if you don't have those dates, we'll make sure that Rachel sends the dates out to you. For that meeting, then one meeting, two meetings, whatever's left. No questions for Sam? Thank you very much. Okay, so now we have executive committee reports. The trustee Hyam, would you provide us the PACT exec committee, the alumni board report, and USI report?
Okay, thank you, Barbara. Just briefly, not a whole lot to report. The Alumni Association is having their next meeting a week from tomorrow. So we haven't attended one since our last meeting, but Mark Eisert, as I think I reported, stepping down as president, and they're going to replace him in April. I'm not sure who with, or I'm not sure they know who with, but they're going to replace him in April. Again, as I always say, this was I think 5 years ago there was a big problems with the Alumni Association, and when Amanda came on board, I think she sensed that, fixed that, and has done an excellent job in moving them forward. And I think it's fortunate because as we integrate these universities, I think it's going to be very interesting to see how the three alumni associations work with each other, and if there's continuity between them, and they maybe better understand their missions with the university. With not only with it's going to be, I think, a little bit difficult for them to understand their mission with Edinburgh and Penn West. And I think it's really interesting to see how the new alumni, where they identify as much with Edinburgh as they do with Penn West. That we're all, we all bleed plaid, and we always will. Period. So Amanda pretty much covered everything else with them. Concerning the PAC, we had a PAC meeting the 26th, which I think was a week ago yesterday, with the chancellor's call. One of the interesting things that came up, and I don't know what it had to do with PAC, was marketing, and a long discussion about why PASHI doesn't get more involved with marketing of the universities. And it was pointed out that they've tried this before, and general public just does not identify with PASHI, period. They don't understand it, don't understand what it is. So individually, the universities do a much better job marketing their themselves. And the other thing that came up with PAC, and this is an ongoing discussion, whether or not Edinburgh Advisory Group and the Clarion Advisory Group, as far as that goes, the Lock Haven and Mansfield Advisory Groups, whether or not they will have any representation on PAC, which for you don't use enough familiar with the terms of Pennsylvania Association of Trustees. And we're getting a little pushback. I know Kathy's had some preliminary discussion, her and Melissa Bauer from Clarion, about that very subject. And it's not as clear cut as you might think, but I think still Edinburgh Clarion deserves some representation. We're still a university, a full university, and I think we should have some representation somehow on that. And they're going to identify it as the Council of Trustees, and they'll probably stick with that. So we'll see how that works out. The other one, excuse me. It's hard to explain. Okay. The other one is USI. USI is just fine. I've been through this before. Ray Fisher has done a great job transitioning through the last, even before the pandemic, when the book sales started to collapse, and almost immediately. He was the one who stepped up and formed a the electronic books. It became an electronic book supplier, and he worked through Barnes and Noble, and has done a great job. And I think he was way ahead of much of the or many of the other universities as far as that transformation. He's done a great job with payroll control. He's dropped 25% of his payroll to adjust to the downside in books. They can still buy, students can still buy books if they want it, but they have to order them and they will come in a few days. The only other thing with USI, longtime board member Roy Strasbaugh has stepped down from the board, our university historian, and wrote the book on the modern days of the modern history of Edinburgh. So beyond that, I don't have a lot to add or any questions anyone has, that's fine.
I noticed you turned upside down when you were talking about PACT, but
Yeah.
Actually, do we have any comments from you, Kathy, about that just before we move on? Kathy Pape?
No.
No. Okay. In other words, it's still a work in progress. Okay, I just wanted to make sure that I didn't leave you out of that conversation since your name came up. Thank you. Okay, our last report for the day is from Trustee Dennis Frampton and the Foundation Board report.
You're on mute, Dennis.
How's that?
We can hear you.
Okay. We had a meeting last week in the foundation. One point I'd like to highlight, in all the years that I've been dealing with the foundation, financially, they're doing very well this year. We've got an upcoming meeting on the annual review of the investments, and we're hoping and praying that our investments can be as good in 2022 as what they were in 2021. The foundation is as active as it's ever been, and they continue to support the university in many, many ways. And that's the end of my report.
Thank you. Is there anything else for the good of the order? Hearing none, may I have a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Okay.
Second.
Second, who was the second?
Dan.
Okay, thank you, Dan. And I don't think we really need to do the roll call just on this one. So unless someone really disagrees, you can yell it out. And thanks again, Sam, for joining us. We will be talking to each other soon. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.